Hi, Beth, and hi, everybody. We'll get started in just a couple of minutes. Give me just one more moment, everybody, and I'll be right with you. Okay, I'm sure everybody saw all that just now when I was going from place to place on my screen. Okay, I had a small technical issue and I think we can go ahead and get started now. Just one second. Hey, there we go. Okay, welcome everybody to our first of the month DU Families Q&A. I'm Sharon Bond, Director of New Student and Family Programs. With me on tonight's webinar as moderator is Beth Goad, Assistant Director of Family Programs. To start us off, I'm going to give you a few updates, information about orientation and move-in. And as you start to think of questions to ask, go ahead and add those to the Q&A button on your screen. Beth will be reading through those as they come in, and we will answer as many of your questions as we can. The website links and resources we're discussing tonight will be shared on a follow-up email. And this webinar is being recorded, so you will be able to watch it again by going to our website, crimsonconnect.du.edu/NSFP. Right. So, who are we? The New Student and Family Programs team, also known as NSFP, consists of year-round staff members dedicated to educating families and students about DU. transitioning to the college environment, sharing information and resources. I'm the director of the area. Beth Goad is the assistant director of family programs, and Kelly Bittner is the assistant director of new student programs. What do we do? Our team develops orientation programs for students and for families, which I'll describe in a few moments. We provide videos about different campus offices and what they do, and these monthly webinars to help you become familiar with DU and get ready for move-in and orientation. We have a dedicated email address for parents and families, parents@du.edu, monthly newsletters during the academic year, resources for students and their families on our website that I just mentioned, specifically on a resources link at the top of the page that goes to first year information. This is where you can find billing and payment FAQs, important dates, Pioneer ID card info, and other billing and financial resources. We also have a Facebook group for parents and families of students, which you can find by searching University of Denver Parents and sending us a request to join the group. This is a platform for parents, but we have a few students on that page who help us answer questions. So please know that this is a private group for the DU community, but that doesn't mean it's private from other DU students. This group is where parents can ask questions of other DU families who have been here for a year or more, get advice from them, what restaurants or hotels they like, and our office shares information on that page as well, though our main communication with you is through email. And we host Family Weekend in the spring in partnership with other campus offices. As we learn more about other university events planned for spring 2021, such as sporting events and other local events happening in the area, we'll make that decision on the date of Family Weekend and let you all know. So during our webinar tonight, we are going to cover the practical stuff. We'll talk about moving in and orientation and the usual need to know information we share during this time of the year, but we know that you have COVID-19 top of mind right now. We do too. In the early phases of the university's response to coronavirus, the University of Denver COVID-19 Response Team, or CRT, was established. The CRT is promptly informed and mobilizes quickly upon learning of a positive case on campus to institute appropriate protocols, including notifications for anyone who may have been exposed to the virus. And individuals are notified promptly if they're in close contact with someone confirmed positive and advised to isolate. So where it's relevant, they may be informed of being in the vicinity of someone positive and advised to closely monitor for symptoms. At this time, our campus has not had an outbreak, which is defined as 2 or more confirmed cases of COVID-19 in a facility group with onset in a 14-day period. So since April 12, we have had 8 confirmed positive cases at DU. None of these individuals worked in the same building or group. That's what that means. The university has a very robust website, www.du.edu/coronavirus, and it's dedicated to information about the return to campus, the messages that have been developed by the university leadership on testing and quarantine protocols, and DU's daily response network. A resources page where you can find FAQs with sections for students, families, and our international community and others. Something I'm suggesting for you to review is the visitor protocol at the top of the page on our link to travel and visiting campus. This is especially important for those of you who will be helping your student move in. We also just recently had a town hall for students and families on the return to DU quarantine and testing, which you may have attended. You can also find the Chancellor's update on quarantine and testing, as well as other messages on the communications page of the Chancellor's website. And that is www.du.edu/chancellor/communications. And again, I'm going to share all of these websites with you so you don't have to furiously try to write these down. I know you may have additional questions about your student returning to campus next month. Hard to believe, next month. September is next month already. We will try to answer as many of the questions that you have tonight, as many as we can. And we'll pass along questions we aren't able to answer to our leadership team. This website, the coronavirus website, will be your best resource for learning all that you can about the university's response and protocols and any current updates. For student orientation this year, there are 9 online modules for students to complete, which began on July 6th. The modules are being released weekly, so your students will have time to go through each module without rushing through it. Students will move into their residence halls September 7th, 8th, or 9th. Move-in will be staggered to care for physical distancing, and each student will be able to have 2 helpers for moving in. Their room assignments were delivered by email July 27th, so be sure to ask them to check their DU email for that. After moving in on campus, students will have in-person orientation programs to attend on the 9th through the 12th. Family Discoveries will be a completely virtual program beginning August 24th. We will have live streamed events, an opportunity to meet the leadership of Student Affairs and Inclusive Excellence, and new student convocation where we officially welcome your students to the university. We're going to have live breakout sessions with university administrators so families can discuss academics, careers, health and well-being, character exploration. You're going to have the opportunity to meet the leadership also through a provost and dean's panel. And this year, we're having a virtual book club. We're really excited to host a discussion this year on a book by Kelly Ratty called Out to Sea, A Parent's Survival Guide to the Freshman Voyage. She gives really good advice on getting your student and yourself prepared for starting college in the fall and getting through the first year. You can either pick up this book at a local store, but it's kind of soon. It's only going to be 2 weeks from now. You can get it through Amazon or through Kindle also. And then register for the virtual book discussion with us, which happens, as it says, how many discussion leaders that we'll need. And the link to get registered is there on your screen, but we will, which I can't see because it's covered right now, but we will also send that link to you in a follow-up email. This slide shows you some commonly requested website links that we get. We have the Health and Counseling Center to get information about student health insurance, counseling services for students, and other health and recovery resources. Inclusion and Equity Education resources. The new student registration website. Those students should be registered for their classes now. If they still have questions about registration, this is where they can find videos about the different academic colleges at DU, instructional registration videos, and some FAQs. Academic advisors are available for students to get remote advising during the summer by phone, email, and Zoom appointments, and drop-in advising. Details on how to get advising, developing their academic plan, knowing about academic advising policies, and coaching resources can also be found on the website listed there. And finally, the housing website listed is a resource to help your students figure out what to bring or not to bring when they're getting ready to move in. And we're asking everybody to please, pack lightly, just what you need for the quarter. Your laptop and your clothing that you need right now. You don't even need ski equipment because those ski resorts aren't even going to be open by the time winter break comes around. So I would bring those back in January, any equipment or the really heavy coats. I mean, bring layers for now, but they don't need the really heavy stuff or the sports equipment. So that covers all of my updates for now. Let's go ahead and take some questions and get as many questions in there as we can.
Great. The first question is, do parents have access to the dorms after the 90-minute move-in period?
I'm going to say that no, the 90-minute period is designed for everybody to get everything up into the room and to utilize that time the best that you can for bringing everything in, because we need to de-densify and because we need to give everyone an opportunity to get in there with the same level of de-densification. We're asking that you do not come back to the residence halls after that 90-minute time frame. And if anybody else is on the call that has any other information about that, we welcome you to jump in now. Sounds like that was good. Okay.
Next question. In the new residence hall, Demond, is there an RA per pod or per floor? And what exactly is a pod?
Great question. Do we have someone from the housing office on our call with us tonight? Let me see. All right, I'm not seeing anyone from the housing office that can jump in and answer that. So we can take that down and we can ask that question and get back to you with the answer.
All right, next question. Do transfer students have a separate orientation from first-year students? When will they be receiving information on this?
Yes, that they're generally going to be having the same type of program, but we do have them into an orientation group with other transfer students. So we can get a little more information if we have someone from the Discoveries office. If you can send me a message. No? I think that's another thing that we're going to, you can find those resources actually on our website, crimsonconnect.du.edu/NSFP. That's where you can see the schedules for the first year and transfer students, and you'll be able to see what they're going to be doing. And they will have, you know, the same type of programming as I said, but they'll be with other students that are also transfers. So they'll build a community of their own as well. Did that answer the question, Beth?
I think so.
Okay.
Next question. Should we bring our own vacuum cleaner to school, or will there be some available in the residence halls?
That is not something you need to bring with you. That's something that you can get at the residence hall.
All right, if a student goes home out of state during the quarter, will they be able to return in-person on-campus learning?
Okay, so I am assuming that you were talking about quarantine, and if you're referring to the quarantine protocol for that, they would be requested to consistently monitor their, do the symptom survey while they're gone. Also, they would be asked to quarantine during the 14-day period. Or, you know, that is something that we could specifically move forward and ask that question of the housing office. But I would say, you know, yes, they'd be allowed to return, certainly. However, they would probably have to do the 14-day quarantine before they could join other students in the classroom. That's what I'm assuming, but, you know, we can get some more information on that.
Next question. Do you need to have DU insurance to use the medical clinic?
Yes, you can go in for, every student does have a health fee that they pay. So that is, you know, students do get a certain number of visits to the clinic each quarter. That is in detail on that Health and Counseling Center website link that I just provided, and which will be in the follow-up email. There are some services that, you know, if you have your own health insurance or if you have DU student health insurance, that may be, you know, there are some differences in there. But all of that information can be found on the Health and Counseling Center website, or you can contact them using their contact info to find out some detailed info.
Okay, next question, Sharon. How are faculty and staff being tested to minimize spread in the community?
So faculty and staff are being asked to test, to have a negative test, and also to quarantine 14 days prior to arriving on campus. Everyone is doing a symptom survey and will consistently monitor their symptoms while they're on campus as well, daily. And what else am I forgetting in there, Beth? Is that everything we're doing for faculty and staff? I think that's it.
Yes, daily monitoring. We have to quarantine before we can come to campus.
And the test, right?
Test, yeah.
Yep.
All right, next question. Can you clarify the rules regarding guests in dorm rooms?
There, as to my knowledge, there will be no guests allowed in the residence halls. Unless it is a DU community member, I do not believe that students are going to be able to have guests. We can follow up with that question though.
Okay, next question. If the library is closed, where are commuter students supposed to work, study between classes?
I'm sorry, one more time, Beth?
If the library is closed, where are commuter students supposed to study or work between classes?
I'm assuming that the library is going to be open. I am not aware that the library is going to be closed. Not even right now. Is it available at this time, or are the doors closed? Do you know, Beth?
I don't know.
I don't know that it is, that's part of the plan. I believe it's going to be accessible to students. But again, let's put that on the list to follow up with later.
Okay, next question. Will there be scheduled activities for first-year students on Monday or Tuesday?
Yes, so good question. If you're moving in on a Monday or Tuesday, and I know that some of the programming won't start until Wednesday the 9th, then yes, we're going to have some programming for students, some fun things for you to do in the interim. Different things will be available, on both of those nights, so that people who have already moved in can gather together and get to know their community.
Okay, next question. Do our students need to bring their own masks?
It's suggested that you bring your own mask. We are going to provide at least one to every student. And that's, probably going to have the shield on it. I haven't seen it yet, but the DU shield, or University of Denver or something like that. Yeah, but we're going to provide one, but definitely, bring a supply, just a few that are washable and won't, wear out in the washing machine when you wash them, something that you can have as backups. Mm-hmm.
Okay, will students have opportunities for social events during the pandemic? If so, how will they be held?
That's a great question. I know that the Office of Student Engagement is working on that. We're working on some engagement virtual fairs and things like that. So more to come, and we'll announce those as soon as we've got some information to share about those.
Okay. If my student doesn't move in until later on the evening of the 9th, how should he attend orientation earlier that day?
I don't think that the orientation programs are going to start early. I think that the first thing that's going to happen is probably the evening program. We won't start something within the on-campus portion until we know that all of the students have had their move-in time.
Okay. Is the health and counseling fee different than health insurance?
Yes, the health and counseling fee is set up so that, for the convenience, so that your student can go to the health center and be seen by someone. And I believe, you know what, I'm not even going to quote how many times because I haven't read it at this point, but they can go over to the health center. It is different from student health insurance. The health fee is, as far as I know, that's something that is required. Hopefully I'm not saying the wrong thing there. I don't think that you can opt out of it, but again, that might be incorrect. If that's a possibility, that's something you can do on Pioneer Web. But do we have someone that's here from the Health and Counseling Center that can help us with that question? Okay, I'm not seeing anything pop up on my screen when I look for the names of our campus colleagues, but if you send an email to Beth and let her know if you're on this call right now and we haven't given you the ability to actually respond and enabled your microphone, we can do that for you. But just let Beth know. And we'll get you some more information and a link that goes directly to student health insurance and the difference in the student health fee. We'll send you a link for that also.
Okay, next question. If you live locally, can you stop by a week later to drop something off?
Great question. I don't know. I mean, as far as your student maybe meeting you outside and going to pick something up, I think that would be okay. But, you know, we'll follow up on that question. That's a really good one.
Okay, next question. Will there be a designated area to park and unload vehicles? I'm assuming
Yes.
on move-in day.
Mm-hmm. For move-in day, each residence hall is going to have a designated area. It's going to direct you exactly where to go, drop things there, and then park your vehicle, and then go on into the residence hall. The process is going to be all outlined on our next Q&A, on our September 1st Q&A. We're going to go into a lot of detail about how the move-in process is going to go.
Okay, can I schedule a COVID test at DU online before I arrive?
I believe so. I believe that students can get their test when they arrive, but then you would need to do the quarantine, the 14-day quarantine, while you're there on campus.
Not 14 days. They said
oh, it's
in
not
the
14?
Well, if you're coming to campus to have the test done, this is what was said at the town hall on Thursday for parents and families and students, that you would just need to quarantine until you get your results, which could take up to 48 hours.
Oh, only until you get your results. That's great. Okay.
Because some states are not offering tests to people that don't have symptoms.
Gotcha. Okay. That's great. Yeah.
All right. Do we have any more information about the types of food options that are available in the cafeteria? We keep hearing grab and go, but can it be more specific about the options that entails?
Yes, and I know that we had someone on the call tonight, but I don't have you listed when I search. Yes. Okay, so Gina, if you're on the call and that you can answer that, can you send an email to Beth and let her know how to search for you so she can enable your microphone? And we'll get into those different options that are available. Let's go on until we can get back to Gina.
Okay, next question. Do we need any COVID testing prior to stepping on campus from another state? I assume this means for parents.
Oh, okay. Did you cover that during the town hall as well, Beth?
Right. My understanding from what Sarah Watamora said, our COVID coordinator, was that parents do not need to be tested prior to coming to campus.
Okay.
Okay. Next question. My student's move-in date is September 8th. Does she have to sleep in her dorm room that night?
Yes, at the point where students do check into the residence halls, that is where we would like for them to be staying. We don't want them to be going back off of the campus again. Any other information on that, Beth? Your understanding as well?
That was my understanding too.
Okay.
That's what I heard the other night. Sorry, I lost my box.
Sorry.
As the question. No, it's okay. Question box. Okay. Okay, if your student if your assigned roommate is no longer attending, will the student have a solo room?
The housing office could assign another student to that room. I'm not sure if they will be doing that or not. That would be a specific question for housing@du.edu. And if you let them know your name and specific room number and ask that question, they can get down into those specific answers for you.
Okay. On the Sunday before move-in, will the campus be open to walk around?
I would assume so. I would assume that you can come onto the campus grounds, take a look around. You wouldn't be able to get access to the buildings, but I think that you can certainly go take a look around. Yeah. I don't see any reason why not, right?
Okay. Next question, can first-year students bring a car? If so, how can they register for parking?
Great. Yes, first-year students can bring a car. I definitely suggest visiting the parking website, du.edu/parking. And that is where you can find information about parking passes. And different parking lots could have a different fee attached to them, depending on how convenient, how close they are to the center of campus. Some of the parking lots have slightly different fees compared to others. Yeah, and if students are coming to campus, they should get a parking pass.
Okay, next question. Where is convocation and orientation information posted for parents so plans can be made around move-in day and time?
That information is on our website, crimsonconnect.du.edu/NSFP, and it's under the Parents and Families tab. Isn't it? Is that where it's still located, or did it get moved?
I was actually just double checking because I wanted to actually try to put the answer in the comments there. It is NSFP, or excuse me, crimsonconnect.du.edu/NSFP/discoveries orientation, I believe. Oh. And actually, if you just go to our homepage, the crimsonconnect.du.edu/NSFP, that has all of the upcoming events, and Kelly and I were listed them individually on Friday.
Okay.
And so they're showing up, especially like the family discoveries are listed all there.
Okay, great.
Next question, do students need to bring toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, etc.?
Great question. Okay, someone had just raised their hand, and I just unmuted you, John.
Sorry, Sharon, that was an error.
Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. Here we go. How come? Okay, so we will get back to that question. I'm trying to enable someone else's microphone at the moment too. Beth, do you see? Oh, okay. There we go. Gina's unmuted. Okay, so about the cleaning supplies, we should have all of the cleaning supplies there in the residence halls for your students. We should have toilet paper. We should have all of those things available for your student. Of course, they can bring them, but those supplies should all be available in the residence halls. Did that answer the question, Beth?
So,
Okay, sorry for the delay on that. We just had a couple of people pop in here that we wanted to make sure were available. And then we can go back to that question now about can you find that same question, Beth, for Gina?
Yes, it was wanting to know more about grab and go options. What other details are there about food options in the cafeteria? We hear grab and go, but can you be more specific about the options?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So there, as to my knowledge, what we've been informed by management team is that there will be the grab and go. And then there possibly, what that will look like as of right now is that Centennial Hall, Nelson Hall, and possibly Nagel Hall will have the dining to go concept. So that's where students will be able to make choices ranging from like a salad options to protein options. It's a lot of right now is still kind of like up in the air of what I've been informed, but as of right now, it's where they can have a selection of things that are already pre-made, but then there's also options of having stuff kind of like they pick and choose, serve it to go kind of concept as well. I hope that is what they're needing, but that's what I've been informed at this point in time.
Thank you, Gina.
All right. Will most professors be teaching their classes in person?
That's a great question. I do not know the answer to that one. I think that's something that we can get a little more guidance on, but I'm not aware of how many professors are going to teach remotely or in person at this point. We can certainly get some percentages for you. If you're looking specifically for your students' courses, the delivery method is actually listed on their registration. So they would be able to see if it says lecture, that means that their course is going to be delivered in person in class. If it says hybrid, that means it's going to be, of course, part in person and part online. Then we have the option of fully online. And then we also have the option of high flex classes, which are classes that are going to be taught in person and have the ability to go online. And I think I described that one. Does that sound right to you, Beth, with that high flex description? Okay, so they at any time have the ability to change and go online. And students, if they experience symptoms, then there is a possibility for them to continue going to their class, but join in the online format. So these are all things that are, part of the way that we're going to make sure that all students have the ability to definitely complete their coursework. Amy, I saw that you had raised your hand, and I'm going to go ahead and unmute you. Did you have a question that you wanted to ask? I'm trying to unmute Amy. Amy Kamini. Can you do that, Beth? Can you unmute her? Because I can't seem to do it.
I'm trying. I'm clicking the button.
Yeah.
Maybe do we have to make her a panelist?
Maybe. Let's see.
Now I don't see anymore.
Oh, no, I don't see her either. Oh, I don't see her on the list now. Okay, well, come back to us, Amy, if you do have a question you wanted to ask. Okay, let's go on with our Q&A.
All right, next up, will suite bathrooms / kitchens be cleaned and sanitized before move-in, or will we need to clean everything during our 90 minutes?
They will absolutely be cleaned and sanitized prior to move-in.
Okay, when are parking permits going to be made available to buy? My son is coming from out of state and wants to make sure he has a permit.
They should be available to purchase right now. That is something that you can find on the parking services website. du.edu/parking.
All right. Will you update the current laptop standards? Does DU partner with Dell/Apple for pricing? If so, is there a link or store?
There is a store. The DU bookstore is, let me see, I'm gonna guess this website, du.edu/dubkstr. I'm just guessing that one. But if you get on the du.edu website and search bookstore, you can find it in that way. And yes, they do have Dell products, they do have Apple products, and they have an education discount available on the website. And they can also help you with other options if you get in contact with them.
Okay, next question. Will the workout facility be open and available?
Yes, this question came up just a couple of weeks ago from someone else, thankfully. So yes, Coors Fitness Center is planning to be open, and they are developing their protocol for using the facilities, and they're going to determine at what point, you know, you need to make sure you have your mask on, if you can come in and do your workout, and your space, you know, should be available for you to use without a mask on. But they are going to put all of that together, and they're going to roll that out to the community. They're going to let us know, and we'll be advertising to everyone to come in and use the facilities. They just need to get a couple more of their questions answered on their protocol, and they do plan to be open.
Next question. If a room does not have a microwave, are we allowed to buy or rent one?
All rooms have a microwave. They have something called a micro fridge. So the little mini fridge, and it has a microwave right on top. So every room will have that.
Okay, do desks have lockable drawers to put valuables in?
Great question. I do not know the answer to that one. Is anybody else on the call that can answer that right now? You can raise your hand, and then we can try to enable your microphone if you want to do that. Oh, sorry.
Hi, this is John. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of, this is John with Campus Safety. There usually is like a device on the drawer that you can lock, so you put your own padlock on there. It's usually on most of the desks in a lot of the dorms.
Okay, that's great. So they can bring their own lock with them? Is that what you're?
Yeah, normally you could put your own padlock on like the drawer in the desk and secure it that way.
Oh, okay. What size padlock would you recommend that they bring?
It's just a locking mechanism. It fits most different locks.
Okay, just your standard size.
Yep, standard size. If they look at it, then they can buy some kind of padlock.
Okay. Do you know if padlocks are available at the bookstore by any chance?
I believe so. I know U-locks for bikes are.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure on the padlocks.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, John.
Yep.
All right, next question. Does the health clinic take private insurance?
That's a great question that we'll have to follow up on, and I think that you can find the answer to that on the Health and Counseling website that was mentioned there before. And if someone is available from Health and Counseling, if you raise your hand, I can enable your microphone for you. Okay. Dominic, is that you? I'm trying to unmute you right now. Dominic?
Yes, private insurance is taken at the health center. Our current student uses it there.
Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Okay, next question. I'm very concerned about Greek houses and do not believe that students themselves can be tasked with the responsibility of social distancing. That need to be put into place. What is the school doing to minimize risk from students living in Greek houses?
To minimize risk for students in Greek houses and then also for the entire campus community, we're setting up a cultural standard for all students to adhere to. This is something that all students are going to make an agreement to abide by, and it will be part of the honor code for them to physically distance from one another, to wear their masks when they're in common spaces, and to abide by the community standards that we're setting. This is an unprecedented time. I mean, you know, in my lifetime, nothing like this has ever been required or ever happened. And we're all concerned about, you know, safety out, you know, just going to a grocery store and definitely being on campus. We're going to set the stage for them to, you know, to develop a culture so that they definitely do adhere to those guidelines and take care of each other. That is, you know, going to be something that's put into all of the programming and a consistent reminder for all of the students through their Discoveries orientation programs as well. And hopefully that answers that question to the best of my ability.
Next question, what steps are taken on campus to protect students from drug abuse or any relevant other peer pressure?
To protect students from drug abuse and peer pressure, the programming that's put into place during orientation, especially, this is something that, and also in their online experience, we have an EverFi course that is specifically about drug and alcohol abuse. This is part of, you know, educating students about the, you know, the community standard, but, you know, certainly about their own health and well-being for drug and alcohol use, plus the health promotion education that they're going to be receiving during orientation and after orientation, and the community standard that is set for them by agreeing to the honor code, by joining DU. This is something that we have consistent reminders of, and education that is you know, widely available for them through their orientation programming and the years of experience that they have had in your houses. You know, we think sometimes that our students, that our kids, you know, don't listen to us. You know, maybe they're looking like their attention is off to the side, or they're like, yeah, I know. But your words matter. The things that you've educated them on all this time in the house, that really matters to them. They will draw on that, on those conversations that you've had with them. It's a really good idea to have that conversation, that very thoughtful conversation about drug and alcohol and narcotics and, you know, different things that they could experience on a college campus or in the community, anywhere, you know, on an urban campus. These are the things that we prepare our kids for, you know, especially in their later teens, and especially for going away to college. We'll do everything that we can to give them the information that they need as they join us on our campus, but they're definitely going to draw from their experiences with you as well. They will remember, and it's always nice to hear them repeat things and then say, oh, that's something that my parents used to say all the time, and then they realize what they're saying, you know, and that's good. So, and in all seriousness, you know, we do have very strict standards on the campus community for drug, alcohol use, and those are all part of the cultural setting, you know, that we provide to your students. And we have them adhere to the honor code, and we check in with them and we're going to do everything that we can to keep them as safe as possible. Would anyone else on the call like to add? Any other staff members out there that want to add to that? John, I think that you're speaking right now, but I can't hear you very well. Or maybe your microphone's just not muted yet.
I don't think my microphone was muted.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I gave everybody an opportunity.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, yeah. Just want to make sure I give everybody an opportunity to jump in if you have anything else to share there. Okay.
Okay. Next question. Will students be able to eat in the dining hall, or is it just grab and go? Gina, can you help us out?
Hi, it's Gina Vega, registered dietitian. So yes, they're able to, with social distancing practices in place, they're able to do the to-go service, and they're also able to dine in as well.
How is the dine-in being handled?
So as of right now, we're basically working with facilities on making sure that we have the social distancing in place for students to sit at. And then our staff is being trained. So anytime a student leaves that area, they'll have to obviously go and put their trash in the bins that we have available for them. But then our staff will then have the tools that they need to clean that area and disinfect until, and then just pretty much the single filing, letting students sit at different areas throughout the dining halls with the social distancing in place. So it's kind of like they walk in, they grab, they have the option to take it with them to go, or they can sit in the dining area with that space that is available. But there will be somebody to kind of like let them know that that place is for them to sit.
Thank you. Has it been decided for sure that club or intramural sports will not be happening? What other options will there be for students to stay active? How do you envision students spending free time with the COVID guidelines in place? What options will there be for them besides spending time alone in their room?
Many questions in there, in that in that string. I'll try and address the club sports and intramural. I did hear that club sports were not going to be available this year. Is that the same understanding you have, Beth?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay. And I don't know about intramurals. Did you hear about that from athletics or anyone else on the town hall? No? Okay.
I don't think
that is something we can follow up on. We do know that club sports are not going to happen this year or at this time during this quarter. And as far as intramurals, that's a follow-up question for us to take. And what were the other questions?
What other options will there be for students to stay active? How do you envision students spending their free time with the COVID guidelines in place?
There will be the opportunity to go to the Coors Fitness Center to stay active. And then we have a very large facility where they can actually go run the steps. I know I've seen some other people going out to the soccer field and have been able to go run the steps out there to stay active. Doing, their normal, whatever they do for normal exercise. So they can get to the workout facility and then they can also exercise on the campus grounds. And those are my suggestions, staying right there on the campus grounds for their exercise. And tell me again, Beth, what that last question was. How are they going to spend their free time?
Yes. Or what suggestions are there for free time?
That will also be part of the student engagement advertising that's going to come out. We're going to have some activities that they can do that's not just virtual, although we know that our kids right now are in a space where they're very used to virtual engagement, but we also want to nudge them to get outside and, you know, go do something in the sunshine and, you know, go have fun, be around people safely, responsibly, be around people. So we are going to develop some programs through the Student Engagement Office where students are going to be able to do that in a safe environment in small groups. Anything else to add on that, Beth, that you know of right now?
No, I don't have any.
Okay.
Any insight, sorry.
Okay.
There seem to be many different platforms for communication with parents and students. Once students are on campus, how do you notify students of events? Oh, you just muted yourself.
Yep. Once students are on campus, how do we notify them of events? Is that what the question was? Okay. So students are being notified right now of you know, their checklist and about orientation and all of that through their DU email. They will continue to get information through their DU email about events happening on campus. Through the Office of Student Engagement, they'll be receiving a newsletter, and that's how they're going to find information about different activities that they can do, clubs that they can join, organizations, and you know, different events happening on campus. So it will largely be through email. There is also their DU social media that they can be part of, and that's another way they're going to be staying up to date on all of the things going on the campus. And signs throughout the campus, and those are the different ways that I know of, unless there's something else that someone wants to add.
My child does not move in until Wednesday. Can she attend any of the programming offered Monday or Tuesday?
If students are not yet moved into the campus, if they haven't checked in and provided their, that they have a negative COVID resulting test, you know, if they're not yet moved in with their keys and part of the campus community, I don't believe that they are expected, or, you know, I don't think that they should be attending other events that are going on. I think that, you know, a lot of this is going to be virtual anyway, and in that case, you know, of course, definitely can. But if there's a campus event, I think that they need to be checked in first. But this is something that we should also follow up with, and, you know, we'll take that question forward and get some more information. If there's any other way for students to be engaged with the campus community prior to moving in, yeah, we'll find that out.
Okay, do students need cash for laundry?
No, students don't need cash for laundry. I believe that they can still use quarters for laundry, or probably dollar bills. I wouldn't suggest them doing that. They can do their laundry by using their Pioneer ID card in the laundry facilities. It takes your Pioneer ID card and they can do their laundry in that way.
Okay, is there one or several places to eat, and what will, well, I know we've already asked about dining, but yeah, just how many places are there to eat on campus, I think is the question.
We have several. Gina, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, so as of right now, there's Centennial Hall, Nelson Hall, and Nagel Hall. And then as for the retail locations, Front Porch Cafe, and I'm thinking that the at the engineering building, the wing station will be open. But again, I'm not too sure on that. That will have to be something I'll have to get in contact with Janelle, who's the director of retail dining.
Thank you. One other question, Gina, that came up is, will the dining halls be open and feeding the students as of September 7th?
Yes.
Thank you. Will there be any official guidance to students in shared suites on how to sanitize their shared spaces like bathrooms, kitchen areas, furniture, doorknobs, etc.?
I assume so. I think that we're developing some signs and things like that to help remind them to do it. As far as how to do it, that I don't know. That's pretty specific, and we can find that out from the housing office and see if there's going to be some guidance maybe put up in the rooms about making sure that they do, sanitizing on certain areas. So yeah, we can follow up with that one and post that in the follow-up email.
Okay, next question. How does orientation work for a student not living on campus doing school online?
The online orientation, of course, and then the residential students and the commuter students, so students living off campus are commuters, they'll have options to join in with some of the activities. And as far as the in-person programming for orientation, every student, regardless of their status, if they're living on campus or if they're not living on campus, they will all be part of a Discoveries orientation group. I think it will be designed a little bit differently so that students don't have to come to campus. But we can also take that question forward and find out what the particular schedule looks like for a commuter student versus a residential student.
Okay, do we have time for one more question?
Yes.
Okay. Does the student ID serve as a light rail transportation card as well?
Great question. It does not. The student ID serves the purpose of course, getting entrance into the residence halls and also doing laundry and getting access to the other campus buildings. But there is a separate transportation pass for students that they will also, I believe so anyway, unless I am incorrect. And John, you could probably answer this question a little bit better. You probably know more than I would know right now. I believe there's still a separate transportation pass for all students for the light rail and RTD around Denver.
That's my understanding too, Sharon.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Yeah. To go on to the
Eco card, I think it's called.
What's that?
It's called the Eco card, I believe. It's a green card.
Oh, Eco Pass.
Yeah, Eco Pass, that's it.
Eco Pass.